Hey guys, John here, and thank you for visiting my YouTube channel as we stand here now to talk about Logan, revisiting the movie Logan with its Blu-ray release. We're going to talk a little bit about what's on the Blu-ray as well. But first of all, let's talk about Logan. You know, it's June. We're almost halfway through the year, and to this day, at least in my books, and I know a lot of your guys too, Logan, this little fox superhero movie that could, still stands to me as the best film of 2017 so far. Not just the best film of the genre, not just the best action film, it is flat out the best movie of the year so far. Now when Logan first came out, I mean, a lot of people were very excited about the amount of violence there was going to be. We were excited that it was rated R and what that could mean. But as it turns out, the R rating in this movie, and in one of the special features in the DVD, they talk about this. The R rating in the movie, they did not see this. The filmmakers didn't see this as a license to do more gore and more violence and no swearing. To them, none of that stuff was even remotely important. To them, one of the main things director James Mangold said in the Blu-ray commentary was that it gave us license not to make a more gory film, not to make a more violent film, not to make a more gratuitous film or more vulgar, whatever. It gave us license to do an adult film. You know, with a lot of comic book movies comes part of the pressure of, hey, make sure this appeals also to the 12-year-olds. Like, target the adults, but also make sure it also reaches the 9-year-olds, the 10-year-olds, the people who will buy the toys. And by giving them an R rating, they were free of having to make sure that the content, that the subject matter, that the meat of the movie didn't have to appeal to them, and they could go straight for the more mature themes that they wanted to go for. And really, therein lies the brilliance of Logan. It's the meat of the movie. Yeah, the violence of the film is off the charts, and it's a lot of fun to watch. Like right off the beginning at that gas station scene when he's going in on those guys trying to steal his wheels, and he starts just taking those fools apart. Getting to see a lot of that Wolverine classic rage moments that we all love to see in these movies. At the heart of it though, it's the story about a broken man who has lost his way, who's trying very hard to forget a lot of the stuff behind him and trying to move forward with whatever is left of his life, with whatever pieces of his life he can gather up and put back together again. And it's within this context, the context of a person, of a character who is broken and defeated and sees no sense left in life, trying to find some semblance of normalcy to move forward with it. It's within that context that the story of Logan is told, and that, not in the violence, not in the gore, although all that stuff is awesome, but that is the stuff that makes Logan the best film of the year so far. And it doesn't hurt that you've got Hugh Jackman, Patrick Stewart, and brand newcomer Daphne Keen, who all three of them, quite frankly, turn in Oscar-level performances. Look, I'm not saying Hugh Jackman is definitely going to be nominated for Best Lead Actor at the Academy Awards. I'm not saying Patrick Stewart is definitely going to be nominated for Best Supporting Actor. I'm not saying Daphne Keen is definitely going to be supported or be nominated for Best Supporting Actress. But I'm saying they're all on that level. And if it ain't this year, there would have been other years at the Academy Awards that they would have been nominated, because all three of them delivered just absolutely stellar performances. With Patrick Stewart, maybe the best performance this guy has ever given in his long storied career. With Hugh Jackman, definitely his best performance as this character of Wolverine, and maybe the best performances of his career. And Daphne King, this little girl who came out of nowhere to play X-23. Look, this movie is great. Without Daphne King, it's great. But Daphne King selling us on this character of X-23, the rage, but also the childhood innocence mixed in with that murderous, you know, these impulses that she has to murder everybody that gets in her way. It's her ability to convince us of this character that takes Logan from being another great movie of 2017 to truly one of the elite. And as far as Blu-ray commentaries go and Blu-ray special features go, there's not a ton of special features. Like, this isn't a Lord of the Rings where there's 9 hours of special features on the disc. Not at all. There's just a little bit of a making of Logan kind of presentation that they do that maybe altogether takes about an hour. And then there's a few deleted scenes, and really that's about the meat of the Blu-ray. But it's within these things that we learn so much. One of the key things to me, one of the real gems of Logan, and in particular the Blu-ray that we've got here, is when both Hugh Jackman and Mangold, the director of the film, are talking about how, you know, a lot of people when they think about Logan, they think about Old Man Logan, the comic series, and they point out in this little making of featurette that, you know what, yeah, we borrowed some things from Old Man Logan, but Old Man Logan wasn't really the inspiration, and it's not the basis of the movie Logan. What really, if you really want to find the inspiration for the movie and what our main guiding star was, it wasn't Old Man Logan, it was the Clint Eastwood classic Western Unforgiven, one of the best films ever made. Which is actually really cool because then Hugh Jackman himself talks about, in the special features, about how he talked to the creators of the comic books, and the creators of the comic book Old Man Logan said one of their inspirations for Old Man Logan was actually Unforgiven. So it really is kind of neat how it all came full circle. Now the Blu-ray special features, at least the making of Logan stuff, is broken up into several parts. It really takes one part to focus on Hugh Jackman and what he did for this movie and his performance in the movie. Another part of the making of focuses on Patrick Stewart. Another part focuses on Daphne King. Another part focuses on the director Mangold. Then another part focuses on like the cinematographer. And then they talk a little bit about the settings and the scene and the scenery of the movie. And it's when you watch this stuff that you sit back and take a breath and go, this movie was actually even better than I realized when I watched it the first time through, and now I gotta watch it again. It's beautiful, it's inspiring. The vision that they brought to this movie and how well they executed that vision. Like, it's funny when you see like footage of them early on in the filmmaking process and them talking about what it is they've got a vision for this movie Logan. And then, you know, 2020 hindsight, being able to stand where we are in time and look at the movie and say, my God, I don't even think they realized how on the nose they were and how perfectly they were going to execute this. And while I don't want to give away too much about all the various special feature stuff that's on the DVD and the Blu-ray, I do want to mention one quick thing. It comes from the deleted scenes that add so much more weight. Now look, if you're watching this, your reflection review of Logan and what's on the Blu-ray and all that kind of stuff, I'm going to assume that you've seen the movie. So I'm about to give away a little bit of a spoiler. If you don't want to hear any spoilers because you haven't seen Logan yet, go ahead and stop this review at this point. If you have, let's move forward. If you've watched Logan, you know one of the most heart-wrenching reveals of the film is when you realize that it was Professor Charles Xavier himself who killed the X-Men. That he doesn't even remember that he did it. And he was probably, obviously, it was not his intention to do it as a part of his mental illness and his deteriorating capacity and all that kind of stuff. It was a part of it. But it wasn't just heartbreaking from Charles's point of view. It's devastating from Wolverine's point of view because Wolverine knows Charles killed all of the rest of his family, of his friends, but he loves Charles, and now he's just trying to get Charles through this. Okay, we know that part already, but one of the deleted scenes, which is really an extension scene of the dinner scene when Patrick Stewart and Daphne and Hugh Jackman are sitting and having dinner with the family that they helped with the horses. An extension of that scene reveals that Logan was actually at one point married to Jean Grey. It's Professor Charles Xavier in one of his semi-lucid moments, like he's there, but he's struggling at this point, and he mentions that Logan was married. He's telling the family this, to a former pupil of his, Jean Grey, and she was everything, and she was his world. And then he said, and Logan killed her. Which obviously is a conversation stopper when you're sitting around dinner. Now, as the audience, we know that it wasn't Wolverine that killed them because, you know, Charles just doesn't remember. Remember early on in the film when we first meet Charles in his tank, he says to Wolverine, "What did you do? What did you do?" When it wasn't Wolverine, it was Charles. And that tragedy of Charles Xavier killing the X-Men, it takes another step deep into the emotional fiber of this movie when you realize Logan is not just caring for this man that he loves and trying to protect him and save him. And it's not just the guy who murdered his X-Men family. It's Charles who accidentally, granted, killed his wife, Jean Grey. And that just adds a whole nother level of, oh my God, the pain that this guy is going through. Now, when I first saw that scene in the Blu-ray deleted scenes, I thought, why the hell would they take this out? And after watching it, I realized, they probably took it out because of the fact that there is such thing as getting too heavy. I mean, the movie was already extremely heavy. We already felt the pain and we already felt the weight of it and we already felt the tragedy. That might have been taking it to unbearable lengths. And maybe, while Mangold figured I can get the audience on board with feeling the tragedy of Wolverine, that he's caring for the man who inadvertently killed all of the rest of his X-Men family, then maybe it would have been hard for the audience to stay on board with that, knowing they actually killed Wolverine's wife. For whatever reason, they decided to take the scene out, and I respect the decision. But man, watching that scene, it adds even more context to this horrible situation so beautifully played out on screen. Now, in the deleted scenes, I'm not going to spoil much, but there's mention of Sabretooth. Sabretooth comes up in conversation. And there are a few other things that when you watch me go, oh yeah, that was really cool, but I can totally see why they took it out. But still, even watching those deleted scenes that you're happy they took out, it gives you as a fan of the movie a broader appreciation and a broader understanding of the context of what they were really going for. And it just adds to the mythos of this movie, even though I'm glad the movie released the way it is. So while Logan is not a feature-rich Blu-ray, and I really like feature-rich Blu-rays, where like the Star Wars, the prequel trilogy, love or hate those movies, they had wonderful supportive content on their DVD releases. It's not Lord of the Rings type of stuff, but I'm telling you that the stuff that is on this Blu-ray is so worth having. If you are a fan of the movie, and if you think anywhere nearly as highly as Logan as I do, you're going to want to get this Blu-ray, and you're going to want to watch this making of and the deleted scenes to just grow this appreciation of what I call the best movie of the year so far. All right, that'll do it for my short little revisit to the film Logan. Tell me, what did you think of Logan? What to you was the most brilliant part of this movie? What is it about Logan that still haunts you when you think about the film? And have you got the Blu-ray yet? If so, what did you think of the special features, and what was your favorite thing on the special features? I want to know what you think. Drop it in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks for joining me. I'll be back again. My name's John Campea. Follow me on social media, on Twitter and Facebook. Just @John Campea, and I'll see you next time.